Martina Anderson MEP, you're leader of the Sinn Fein delegation here in the European Parliament, and we're celebrating 20 years of the Good Friday Agreement. Just to go back in time, what did it mean to you?
Well, I think what it showed was tremendous courage. It emanated from the people across the island, because compromise was inherent in that process of change and that process that led up to the Good Friday Agreement. But it was a compromise that was born out of hurt and pain. Hurt and pain that was suffered by many people, because wars are terrible things. But it's how you get out of wars. How do you build conflict resolution? So for me, it advanced a peace process, a political process. It enabled us to recognise each other's differences. It dismantled military infrastructure that was dotted across the landscape, particularly of the border communities in the north of Ireland. And it also saw the release of political prisoners, of which I was one.
20 years on, and we've seen the Brexit referendum and the UK proposal to leave the EU. Are you concerned that that will damage what was achieved through the Good Friday Agreement?
There is no doubt that Brexit is incompatible with the Good Friday Agreement, and there is no doubt that there is more support for upholding and preserving and protecting the Good Friday Agreement in all of its parts in the European Parliament than what there is in Westminster. So I think there's recognition here in the European Parliament that an international agreement that is lodged at the United Nations, and one of the co-guarantors of that agreement, the British government, cannot trump the other co-guarantor, the Irish government, by undermining the agreement. So this evening we have an exhibition in this Parliament, and it's going to chart out where we were, where we are, and where we need to go. And as part of that exhibition, our group in GUI NGL has my own wee Good Friday Agreement. And basically what we've done here is we've extrapolated all of what has been achieved and what was committed to. It was a remarkable achievement. 20 years on, when you look down the annals of history, you can see where we were. Now, the pace of change is too slow, and we are stalled, and there's a lot of frustration, and I get all of that. But we're not going to allow Brexit to undermine all of the good work that has been achieved, because it's unfinished business. We've still a long way to go. And we are going to get there together as a confident people across the island, and we're not going to allow the British government or an English administration or the people of Britain who voted, I can absolutely accept, who voted to leave the EU. We did not. And the constitutional change that would be brought about if we were dragged out of the EU against the democratically expressed wishes of the people of the North, who voted overwhelmingly to remain, would go against the Good Friday Agreement, because the principle of consent said we needed to consent to any change. But we haven't consented to this. And that is why special status for the North to remain within the EU, or special arrangements, or whatever one wants to call it, is crucially important. And that is why we have got an exhibition and the launch of this booklet here in the European Parliament today, because I think in the European institutions we are getting a lot of support, because they recognise it is one of the only peace processes in Europe that can actually act as a beacon light to other war-torn places, with all of its difficulties, all of its problems, and there are many yet to be resolved. But resolved they will be.